Oh, hi everyone, and I've definitely put the wrong scene up. But hi, welcome to Fading Footsteps. There's the right scene. Welcome everyone. Hi, how are we doing? Hi. Before we go around and say hello to everyone, please take a moment to check out the opening links, including all of our social notices, all of the places you can go to support us, all of the places that you can find our sponsors, Mage Hand Press and Bird in the Storm Publishing, and also plenty of websites where you can get 10 to 15% discount. Let's go around and say hello to this week's players and our wonderful DM, Holly. Oh, hi! Muted.
Lovely. Oh, hi. How's it going, everybody? That's only like the second time I've done that today. I'm Holly. You can find me at Sagephilia on Twitter. I'm here every Tuesdays and Thursdays playing with these lovely folks and other lovely folks. Speaking of lovely folks, we're going to go on down to Quixote Jen. Oh, hi. As soon as you drink water.
I'm Jen. I'm here for the first time and I'm nervous. Hi.
Who are you playing today?
I'm playing Drolan Elmarith. I'm a Dragonborn fighter.
Very nice. And bump it on over to the Dice Girls. Oh, hi.
Oh, let me unmute myself. That's helpful. Hi. I'm Becca, the DM of the Dice Girls, and this is my first time ever playing a monk, which I'm really excited about. Also a little nervous. I've never done a fighter class before. So this is going to be interesting. We'll see how I do. Her name is Phalia Respins, and she's an elf.
Monks are so zippy. You're going to have a blast.
I'm pretty excited.
And over to, I'm actually now only seeing your Sarah Semantic. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. Yes, my name is Sarah. I am the DM for Sacrosanct, a 5e Dungeons & Dragons actual play podcast, and today is my first day doing live streaming also, so I'm not nervous at all or anything like that. And today I am playing a cleric. It's the first time I've ever played a cleric or a support class. Anyway, and I am an Aasimar.
Okay, and last but not least, always here, always afraid, Scratticus. Oh, hi.
It's so valid. Scratticus is always afraid. But also Syntagon. Syntagon made a whole bunch of bad decisions. Repeatedly. Yeah, nothing bad happened last week. We didn't find a hole in the floor that's disturbing or anything like that. Honestly, Syntagon's just really glad that it seems like he may avoid talking to Puck again for a week. Maybe.
So speaking of the nothing bad that happened last week, so among the not bad things that happened, we are in a town in Valcognan, and it has, for totally normal reasons and as it naturally is, sunk into the ground several feet. We almost kind of died slightly getting here. And within, there are totally normal townspeople, and it may or may not be riddled with illusions and transmutation magic. Weird, right? And we were wandering around, investigating the city, trying to figure out what is going on and why it is going on, when we saw a corpse named Kent, and he did, and we chased a weird metallic bird person, who ended up going into a hole, maybe, that we can't really see, but we can stick our heads into in the ground, and then we sort of unceremoniously hauled a surprisingly heavy Kent up the stairs and stuck him in an inn room and just sort of kind of left him there to, decompose or whatever. And I think that's about the high points. Is that about the high points?
Yeah. We also spoke to him for a little bit. That was pretty creepy.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we asked him some questions. He told us no lies.
Syntagon totally asked the best questions.
They
Didn't
were.
waste any questions.
Nah, they
To
were.
the point, direct. It was great.
Okay, so we are going to be starting off. I believe we left off like right after we took Kent upstairs, right?
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
Okay. So as you start walking back down the stairs, Puck actually pauses and kind of like shakes their head and says in their small child voice, I forget what their small child voice was, but I want to go back upstairs and look at him a little bit more and see if I can figure anything out. I'll meet back up with you. And
Okay, Puck, that's not creepy at all. You have fun.
well, it's weird, isn't it, that there was no blood.
Yeah, that was pretty weird.
So I'll see if I can figure anything out. And they kind of go back up and they close the door. And you walk back down with Tay and Araki and Kuma to the bar area.
Mostly Kuma, as I understand it, right?
Mostly Kuma. And as you get down to the bar area and you sort of are like kind of collecting your thoughts ish as all of this has gone down, seemingly for no reason whatsoever, a chair comes flying across the bar and smashes into Kuma. And there is a yelp as this dog is hit with this chair.
No, not Cooper!
In addition, the bottom of a pretty, I don't know, how would you describe your Dragonborn fighter, Drollin?
Bright emerald green, long neck, sort of a fish fin going all the way down, very sloppily dressed, but sitting in a way that makes it look like they've probably stood at attention for a very long time throughout their life.
Despite the fact that they are now sitting on the floor, as their chair goes flying across and hits this dog who yelps. Immediately, Araki scoops up Kuma in her arms and looks at you and looks at Tay. And Tay says, "We have to take care of Kuma. Figure out what happened." And they hustle back up the stairs to go join Puck in the room of the dead things. Quinn, also in the bar, you see this chair go flying across, seemingly unprompted, and smash into this dog. And Phalia, is that correct?
Phalia.
You are standing against the bar as you see this happen, just sort of observing everyone. And you see this tiefling just sort of, actually these two tieflings, because Cordassa is with you, Syntagon, just sort of watching like this thing and then looking around.
I'm gonna cast Liam's tiny hut.
Are you like enclosing everyone that's near you in the bar?
Yes!
A small hut appears out of nowhere. You are all enclosed in it, as well as Charlie the bartender. You're okay. Like, it's not totally gotten everybody in the bar. Nothing seems to be obviously the matter as this panicked tiefling finishes the spell. And Cordassa kind of gives him a side eye and a smirk.
I still don't know who you are.
Looks up at the ceiling. Huh. Oh, that's strange. Oh, hold on, everyone. Let me check this out. And then gets up and goes over to the stool, or the pieces of it, what's left of it, and starts to pick it up and inspect it.
It looks pretty well finished. You don't think that you could probably get it back together. Roll me an investigation.
I can do that. I know how to do that.
I believe in your ability to do that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Investigation is a 0. Cool. Hey, that's really good.
Okay. So as you're looking at this at the 15, it doesn't seem at first as you're turning it over like there's anything like structurally wrong with it. I mean, the stool seems pretty sturdy. You would think that it would probably not just smash to pieces with the force that it moved. But as you're turning it over and inspecting the parts of it, you can tell that like one of the legs almost looks like it was made out of a different stool. It doesn't quite fit with the rest of the stool.
I break it off.
Okay.
And I say, all right, now, why did you do that? Why did you do that? I guess
You're just gonna touch it? Oh God! Could be. No, I didn't even mean to trap it in here.
Cordassa kind of glances around and kind of like hover hands on your shoulder, like doesn't actually touch you, but one of those, and says, "There are lots of stools in here with us."
Oh, mother of God!
I'm just standing up really slowly and, brushing any like splinters or dust off of my pants and looking around, craning my neck without even moving my body and putting my hands up and saying, it wasn't me. I have nothing against dogs. I have nothing against you. I don't know what happened. Hands are clean.
Did someone at your table push you?
I just fell on my butt and I have no idea why. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I just fell on my butt and I have no idea why.
Oh God, maybe it's something from the imaginary place under the city, or maybe it's something to do with the crabs that are all over the place, or maybe it's something to do with like the wizards that are disappearing, or maybe it's something to do with the genasi that are being like split all things off. Maybe there's something else going on. I don't know. Oh God!
The imaginary place under the city.
There's an imaginary hole. Maybe imaginary. It's a hole. I shouldn't tell anyone about that.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna take a few steps back from the group and maybe put a table between me and them.
There are some other patrons kind of in the hut, just sort of looking at this all go down and like quietly drinking, and sort of like most of them are definitely staring at all of this going down.
Yeah, I think Phalia is definitely one of those. She does have her hand like on her spear, like ready. She's a little tense, not knowing what to expect or if this is going to get any more hectic. But for now, I think she's just standing back and watching.
Okay, so I might have panicked cast Leoman's tiny hut. We can all leave as we please, but getting in isn't so easy. I'd appreciate it if you threw the stool out, the offending one.
Do you think the stool did it on its own?
Well, you never know. Maybe a genasi got spliced with the stool.
At this point, Phalia, at the mention of genasi, you recall that part of one of the intel pieces that you've gotten so far is that genasi are getting spliced together with other genasi, and that this might be a contribution to the investigation you're carrying on.
Who gets that piece of information? Did you say?
You do.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my interest is definitely piqued when Syntagon mentions Genasi. I think I would approach Syntagon and say, what was this that you're saying about Genasi and splicing? What has this happened before?
Oh, I'm not supposed to tell. Am I supposed to tell people about that? I don't know. Are you with the police?
Definitely not. Do I look like
Because you have to tell me if you are. It's like the law.
Certainly not with the police.
Okay. Well, Puck's not here, so, my friend Puck, who's kind of upstairs looking after the dead wizard, they got spliced with a Genasi too. So, like, there were Genasi getting spliced with Genasi, and they also got spliced with Genasi, and we had to do, like, a full exorcism. We needed a cleric who might actually be a wizard. He's the dead guy. But he helped us extract the Genasi from the body with the help of a priest.
Why would someone turn a Genasi into a chair in a bar?
It's a mimic!
It's a dead mimic.
It's not a very good mimic if it's a mimic.
Maybe they thought it was a mimic.
The chair thought it was a mimic, or a Genasi thought it was a mimic?
I don't know, I thought it was the wizard that was splicing people. Who else is splicing people?
What did they put in the drinks here?
I'm beginning to wonder that myself.
Oh, it depends. Sometimes Araki says you can drink them, other times she doesn't. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to it. Oh, dispel! Oh, no, not dispel magic. Detect magic. Can I cast detect magic? I'll cast it as a ritual to save a spell slot.
Okay. So you cast detect magic. Can you pop it up in chat for me, please?
Yeah, sure. It'll take about 10 minutes, so I'll start casting while I'm talking.
So, as this panicked tiefling is talking to you, he just starts like gesticulating wildly, and sort of also occasionally just mumbling spell components.
Okay, I'm gonna back even farther away because I'm worried that there are gonna be more stools flying through the air.
Cordassa, who's the other tiefling, kind of like, and then just lets him do his thing. And she too will kind of look down at the stool and kind of frown at it. She doesn't pick it up or touch it or anything, but she's sort of frowning at it.
Quinn stands with the one piece that looks like it doesn't belong with the other piece. And Quinn is not necessarily tall, but like 5'9", 5'10", and kind of gracefully slender, elegant, wearing clothes that don't really necessarily match what the general fashion is in the area. Very nice, dark, almost like a tarnished silver colored robes with shades of black and dark gray, and also like violet trim that looks very decorative and nice. And as they stand, they have this leg in their hand, looking very contemplative. They have very androgynous features with an undercut and a lot of black hair swept over one side of their face. Focused on nothing in particular as they take this leg, walking right around Cordassa, back over to the bar, and sitting down, bringing out a notebook of some sort, starting to write in it, and then probably just casts a quick dispel magic on the tiny hut overhead. Without looking, just sort of murmurs something, it sounds almost angry as they murmur, like okay, let's just get rid of this because this is something we don't need right now. A gesture, and then it dissolves.
Oh man, that was a 3rd level spell slot. We could have stayed in here for like 8 hours safely.
They write in their
Assuming
notes.
everything's safe in here.
Good point.
Could I look around at the expressions on the faces of the other people in the bar and see if anyone is watching this in a way that doesn't make a lot of sense?
Sure, roll me an insight or perception.
Right. All right, I can do that. They're equally bad, so I'm gonna try. Okay. It's a 12.
A 12.
2 seconds, everyone. My Zoom has crashed. We can still see you, but you're freeze framed. I'll just restart it. I shouldn't be 2 seconds. Hopefully.
1.
Sorry, everyone. I've been having some Zoom issues recently. It's not ideal. Okay, it thinks I'm still in the meeting. Hey.
And then
Fixed.
today it was just like, hello.
Welcome back, everyone. Except, okay, the overlay's not fixed, but Zoom is fixed. I'm sure we can fix this. Zoom.
Yeah.
Yes, you're all back. Welcome back.
Oh yay!
Yay.
Okay, so where did we stop?
I rolled a 12 to try to see if anybody's looking strange in the bar and reacting in a way that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Okay, so you're looking around with the 12. Most people are looking and like kind of watching what's going on curiously. Everybody seems to be interested as though this is something weird that's going on. The exceptions to that are Quinn and Cordassa and Syntagon. Syntagon is in a straight panic while casting a spell. Quinn seems to be more concerned that this stool is like in pieces than they do that like it flew across the entire thing. And Cordassa has a different expression. You can't really notice anybody else. She has an expression that's sort of like contemplative, but not like, I wonder what's gonna happen next. She's sort of like thinking face.
Okay.
Can Phalia go over to the area where the stool kind of like came from and maybe investigate it a little bit and see if there's anything out of place or unusual over there?
Yeah, roll me an investigation.
Sure.
Or perception if you're just looking. Let your eyes see.
Let's see. Well, I'm much better at perception, so I'm going to do that one.
Okay. Hoo-hoo, you thought.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
So the stool isn't there. With an 8 in perception, there are other stools of similar height around the table. There's no one sitting in there. Drollin seem to be sitting by themselves. That's what you see. Doesn't look anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
As this ritual goes on, I guess I'll edge back over to the table and just grab my drink off of it and back away again and just watch and drink.
Okay. Yep. You just sort of watch and drink. Are you looking for anything specific or just sort of like...
I'm still watching to see if anybody acts oddly. I'm very aware that I don't have a lot of skills to be helpful in this particular scenario, so I'm just going to take it in and see if I see anybody do something strange.
Okay. So Syntagon's spell goes off, and Syntagon, you see, you've cast. Was it you that cast this before, or was it someone else?
Yeah, no, it was me yesterday when everything was full of magic. There was transmutation magic and illusion magic everywhere, and the people were the same in the bar and outside the bar.
So you definitely sense it differently this time. There's still a lot of illusion, kind of like under you and like kind of on like the floor, but beyond that, you're not seeing much illusion. The people where you were seeing a lot of illusion, you're now just seeing. Hang on, because I always forget what this magic type is. You are seeing enchantment. I never think it's enchantment. You're seeing enchantment, and you're seeing transmutation. And on several of the objects, you're also seeing transmutation. But it is much less than you were seeing before. You recognize very light, very familiar traces of magic coming off of Freya and Drollin. And roll me an insight or investigation.
Gladly.
Or arcana.
Oh, that's tempting. Did you say insight, investigation, or arcana?
Yep.
Oh, go investigation.
Okay. So as you're sort of like radaring around and like looking at everything, and
I like to think Syntagon like stops panicking, like as the spell finishes, just like bong, wow, wow, wow.
like, let me find something. You notice that the previous signature that you were getting off of Cordassa when she was wearing that collar is not there anymore. You can sense something magic, but you know she's got that pendant on with the symbol. The symbol. But that energy signature that you felt before, you feel coming off of Freya and Drollin.
The same one? The necklace one?
Mm-hmm. You also feel it coming off of Charlie the bartender.
Oh!
Do we notice any difference in the way that they look at us?
Syntagon?
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. If this is a deception check, I'd fail. As I look at you and I look at you and I... Oh!
What?
You two! Have you had... And you, bartender Charlie! Do you have any necklaces on? Anything that looks like it's got a symbol with a stick man with no head?
He shakes his head and laughs and kind of like feels his neck and like around his chest area, and he just says no, and he goes back to making beer.
I feel all the way up and down my long neck and pat it and just point out how smooth and unadorned it is.
Roll me a perception.
Another 12.
Okay. Smooth neck. Feels fine. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know that Phalia even checks. I think she just says, I own nothing of the sort. Of course I'm not wearing any such necklace.
Seeing that they don't check, can I give them the squinty eye and have a good old look?
Yeah.
Which may be misconstrued as another kind of glaring, I guess, but...
Are you like eyeballing them?
Big time!
Okay. So as you kind of squinty look at them, they're both sort of standing over by this table, and you don't see anything. I mean, they're also not like, look at everything, like they're wearing clothing, so possibly, but you don't see anything. However, you're standing quite a bit closer to Charlie, and as Charlie goes to fill another glass, you see the full mark on the back of his neck. It doesn't appear to be on a necklace. It just seems like he almost has like a very faint... Have you ever seen like a tattoo in white ink?
I'm going to, suddenly try and compose myself. I'm going to turn around to Cordassa and unsubtly go... And then go and sit at the table where Quinn is investigating, because there was no magic off them, right?
Just some vague pings of magical items. It's nothing that you would recognize, though.
I'm gonna sit down next to them. Well, not next to them, opposite them. Next to them would be too weird.
It doesn't even seem like Quinn really notices or looks up from what they're writing in, and then they take out like a monocle from one of the pouches underneath their cloak and puts it on.
Oh no, a monocle. That's a sure sign of evil.
It's true. Are we going to have a problem here?
Me? No problems here.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Because a second ago you seemed to think that I was somehow involved in this.
No.
Okay.
Are you being deceptive?
You know what? In this instance, Syntagon wants to be deceptive, so we'll give it his old best shot, shall we?
Do I make an insight check with that?
Mm-hmm. If you have reason to believe that Syntagon is lying.
It's a 4.
He seems to be telling the truth. He doesn't seem to be a very aggressive fella. He's not wielding anything at you. He's just sort of sitting casually. Oh, I don't know.
Seems pretty earnest.
I just got a little spooked, that's all.
I can do that to people.
I think Phalia would approach Syntagon and ask, what sort of symbol were you asking about? What does it mean? You seem quite afraid of it.
Look, okay, can I draw this anywhere? Can you put us on a screen where I can draw?
Yeah, let me...
Hang on a second, let me change the scene across.
Y'all can draw, right?
Yeah, I think I should be able to. Well, it kind of looks a lot like, can I do it? There we go, yeah, we can see, good. I was just checking we could see. A lot like a stick man with their hands in the air, but he's kind of bent in the middle, and then he's a stick man over there, except he doesn't have a head. There's no head.
I see.
Look at the back of the bartender's neck.
I think Phalia would look at the back of the bartender's neck.
Definitely.
Roll me... anyone who's looking, roll me a perception with advantage since you've had it pointed out to you.
My highest roll was a 10. I haven't gone over 12 yet.
You don't know how much Syntagon has had to drink so far, but it sounds like many. Phalia, as you look, just for future reference, if you just roll 1, since it rolls that double, usually we take whichever.
Oh.
But I'll go
do
ahead
that.
and do the first out of both. Yeah, no, for sure. Roll 20 is weird.
Yeah, thank you.
So
I'm just rolling at home because I don't know how to do that. So if you need
totally fine. Also,
Valid, honestly.
to show you.
as you're looking, Phalia, you also see this that seems to be this white ink tattoo in the back of this man's neck as he turns back around and he hands a mug of something to somebody and then goes back to what he was doing, washing some glasses.
Just drew it in fluid, so I'm just wiping it off the bar.
What does this symbol mean? What's its significance?
We found it on the back of like a necklace that was being used on like a slaver collar chain manacle thing. It makes people do weird things, like Cordassa had one, and it made her not remember that she's Cordassa.
How
And
can I
you-
forget?
We still
Some kind
haven't
of-
resolved who exactly you are.
She kind of like touches herself and like kind of sits back and just sort of like mutters to herself as she's like, I think I'm Cordassa. It's the only name I know.
As this is going on, Quinn has kind of like has been staring at Syntagon and just kind of intensely, but almost unfocused. And it's almost like they're sort of it looks like they're counting almost. And they look over across the bar, and they're going to start investigating the area to see if they can figure out what happened to the stool.
Okay, roll me an investigation.
I think I figured it out, so let me see if I can do that. Investigation. I did it! Oh, it sucks.
Okay, so as you're looking around, you kind of go over and you hunt around where the stool was, and you see some scrape marks, but you don't really see anything else aside from that. And then you look at kind of the broken pieces for a minute, and they all seem to be like normal pieces of stool. Hang on. And you're kind of like looking around, and you look around at other pieces as you're looking around, like other pieces of furniture, like the table and the other stools there, and they all seem to be normal. Like, you notice the one leg is different, but they all seem to be pretty normal in terms of like all being like the same like thing.
Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily see anyone that might be a culprit for that.
There didn't seem to be anybody near. Nobody. Everyone's looking pretty interested, and doesn't seem to be like, no one is making like trying to slink away or anything like that. You can just tell that with your passive perception. If you want to see if anybody seems a bit too interested or also investigating with you, you can roll me an insight.
Okay. That's a little bit better.
Okay. Sorry, she was standing in the way. I know, baby. I'm so mean. So as you're looking around at people, you don't see anybody that seems to be like that would have thrown it or like done any like somehow cobbled together this this weird mismatched stool. But you also like, everybody here seems very generically interested. You would think that see you would think that if it were you in a similar situation where you're just sitting down having a pint, your reactions would be much more like Drollins and Frelia's, where you're actually like, and yours, and Syntagon's, where you're like, what just happened? And everyone is interested and watching, but nobody's like going over and looking around at people. No one really seems interested enough to investigate. They're just sort of like,
okay, so I'm gonna take this leg, and I kind of look at it, and there's a sadness, a very mournful look before I just stick it in my bag.
Okay.
And then I will sit at the table again and just do this all over again.
That's kind of unsettling.
Oh.
So either someone really has it in for stick figures, or we've got some kind of runic magic happening here.
I
Can it
did
be both?
feel a lot better.
Or both.
when it's off. But I don't still remember much. I mean, I remember, I think I'm Cordassa.
And you said it was a necklace that did this to you.
A choker, I think.
Where is it now?
I'm not sure.
You kind of smashed it up. For science.
I mean, if it was controlling her smashing, it seems a reasonable reaction.
They can be smashed.
But none of us are wearing necklaces.
Well, would you be open to inspection for tattoos? I'm not a weirdo, I promise.
Okay, yeah, sure. Come inspect. How are you going to inspect me for tattoos?
I hadn't thought this far ahead.
Is there somewhere maybe a bit more not in the middle of a bar that we could do this?
I just start taking my shirt off. I just pull. I've been in army camps for years.
Cordassa's eyebrows raise.
Quid's eyebrows also raised.
Turn around
For
back and
Phalia.
forth. I got nothing to hide.
So can anyone see a tattoo?
Oh, for goodness sakes. Phalia's gonna inspect Drollin.
Okay.
I would add that I'm very muscular. Just now that my shirt's off, it's quite very.
It's incredibly alluring.
Quid holds a 10 out of 10.
Nice. Nice.
Okay, so roll me either a perception, arcana, or investigation.
Oh my goodness. Not great.
There are scars. There are like kind of a lot of scars. This guy's definitely seen battle, and you're kind of looking over, and some of them seem to like kind of cross, but like maybe it was there and then got scarred over. Maybe it was never there. You really don't see any sort of tattoos among the scars. Everything looks to be pretty accidentally hacked in there.
Okay, look, I'm gonna come and look, okay? I've got my detect magic on, so this is purely a medical inspection, magical inspection.
I got nothing to hide. It's okay. You look.
I wish you did. I only just got out of college.
Same rules apply. You can do investigation, arcana, or perception.
Oof. No rerolls for me at the minute either. Oof.
You're seeing a lot of the same. There's scales, there's scars, there's a lot of muscle.
And Syntagon's bright red.
I'm sorry you had to go through that. Did I come out clean?
I can't see a tattoo. This is
I
weird.
also saw no tattoo.
No
But
tats.
But they're still pinging?
Ooh, so Cordassa comes over and kind of also very like when she blushes, it's almost like a lavender, and is also blushing and kind of like looks almost apologetically at Syntagon and then kind of makes a face like, I don't know why I just did that, and looks around, and you feel these very gentle hands kind of roving over as she's not only looking at you, but kind of feeling, and mostly very chastely. But also there's definitely some points where the scales feel a bit grabbed. And every time that happens, like there's just, it gets more and more lavender. And finally she kind of stops, and her fingers are along your neck, kind of probably about an inch or two below your jawline. She's kind of on her hoof toes to reach up.
I can reach down. I'll lean my neck down.
Oh goodness. And she kind of flinches a little, and she pulls her hands back, and she pulls out the necklace that she's wearing, and she holds it up, and the rest of you can see as she kind of rotates it along the scales, there's a place where it matches with one of these.
Why are you looking
So,
like that?
It's
What
this
did you
part.
find?
I think it's something. Like I said, maybe the middle of the bar isn't such a good place to discuss this.
Can I feel anything now?
You feel where she put it up against you. As she did, you kind of like, what's the word? Like inadvertently kind of like gasp. And as you feel it, you feel like you can feel that part of the mark against you.
Phalia
Okay.
tries not to let anyone see, but she's gonna like kind of start feeling the back of her neck a little bit too. She's
Okay.
trying to be covert about it. she's
Investigation,
a little
Arcana, or
worried.
Perception. No, you're fine.
As far as I know.
You're still pinging, Phalia. I don't think Syntagon's sitting down anymore. I feel, yeah.
This is preposterous. I don't feel anything unusual.
Neither did I. And now I do. So either it's there and we couldn't feel it to begin with, or they just put it on us.
I just used detect magic, okay? It's the magic, it's not me. I'm not pointing you out. I'm just a messenger.
And I'm not pointing fingers, but she touched me with a thing and now there's a thing on my neck. So either it was there and now I can feel it, or it wasn't there and now it's on there. No offense.
Nobody touched me with this necklace, and Phalia's gonna turn around and kind of like lift her hair, and like somebody look and see if they see anything. Do not bring that necklace near me, please.
Don't touch her in case it's spreading. Oh, we're gonna have to, we should have put the hut back up. We might need to contain the area.
Cordessa kind of like backs off and kind of like sits over by where Quinn is.
I'll go look.
Anyone?
Okay.
I'll go look.
I'll squint
Perception,
for distance.
investigation, or Arcana.
0, 0, 0.
Woo!
3!
She's fine. Totally fine. These people are
There's
nuts.
nothing there.
Oh,
There's
no.
nothing there.
Squint at a distance.
Oh no.
Magically this time. Same rolls, right?
Mhm.
What do my magic eyes see?
As you're kind of squinting at a distance and kind of like, as you're squinting, you kind of like accidentally kind of shuffle closer. And like as you're peering, you see that mark exactly the same as is on the back of Charlie's neck.
It's right there. It's just nearly skin colored. I'm slowly transforming from Morty towards Rex from Toy Story.
And you notice that it actually is surprisingly skin colored. Charlie is a bit darker. It seems like he's an outdoorsy kind of guy. The actual color of this matches his skin, matches Phalia's skin. It's not like it's all in the same, like it's all blue, you know. It looks like it matches the person.
Right. All right, you look nervous. You found something then, yeah?
It's right there.
Are you saying I've been marked and didn't even know it?
Marked for
Honestly,
what?
I've been doing this for like 7 or 8 weeks now, and I have no idea what the mark means. But I do know that it's bad news.
And what does it have to do with flying stools?
Magic.
I was hoping for some gaps filled, but yes,
I need
magic.
a more specific answer.
Okay, the dead wizard upstairs, he spliced Genasi, and he had to control. Oh, is this part of the spell?
Ooh, we were getting somewhere. Dead
What
wizard.
spell?
Holly, is
Genasi
this part of the spell that Syntagon learned? Is it one of the runes in the spell?
It is not.
Okay. Ooh. And he used a lot of strange runes in a lot of his spells, which would contain the kind of Genasi things inside rooms. And, one of those rooms was a room of corpses. Another one was a room of sand, which is potentially, Earth Genasi corpses. Another one was a room of water, which is, potentially water Genasi corpses. I pretty much see the whole tower as a tower of corpses, so we accidentally destroyed the tower. Accidentally. We then came here, and the wizard was here, and then the police came along, and then I met Tiffany from high school, and there was a kegger, which is kind of relevant somehow, I'm sure, but, then Cordassa had a thing with the thing on the back of her neck, but that's not in the spell that I found in the tower with the wizards and the corpses. But it controlled her emotions and personality somehow and made her think she's not who she thinks she is, but maybe she is who she thinks she is, and she doesn't know who she really is, and she might or may not be Cordassa.
That actually makes
eyes. Phalia's eyes are just getting like bigger and bigger and bigger as she tries to take all of this in. This is a lot. This is a lot of information.
I'm sorry.
Cordessa kind of frowns at Syntagon, and she stands up, and she comes towards him, very non-threateningly, as much as a woman can be non-threatening to Syntagon.
Syntagon looks very threatened.
And she reaches a hand up and curls it around the back of your neck, and you feel her fingers kind of start feeling the back of your neck. And she does that for a minute, and you see her a little too close to you, kind of looking off and up. And then she kind of gives it a little squeeze and gives you a small smile and kind of backs away. And she says, I don't feel anything on you.
Look, you've got to remember how, because, the first time we met, you said you've got to go home, and I don't know if you're, how old am I? Let's just get this straight. I'm drinking age, Charlie! I'm drinking age! I'm 17, so I doubt you're my wife or anything, and that probably means you're my sister or something, and getting that close is just a bit weird! Sorry, that was a lot to dump in a bar, right?
Yikes.
What does any of this have to do with a flying stool?
Is the mark on the stool? Maybe the stool forgot who it was and thought it was a flying dog thing.
I think Phalia would approach Quinn and say, Pardon me, did I see you tuck away a bit of that stool that went flying across the bar?
What stool?
I see. Well, we're trying to figure out what's going on here, and it would be incredibly gracious of you to help out if you can.
You're assuming I'm incredibly gracious.
Maybe not assuming so much
Good
as
point.
hoping.
Syntagon will
I
whisper
suppose.
to Cordassa. He has a monocle. Be very careful.
She still looks very at you, since the big thing. She's just very taken aback and not sure. She seems frozen, just
What would it
And
take
are
for you
your
to help us out?
intentions with the stool, may I ask?
I simply want to inspect it and see if there's anything unusual about it. You must agree that a stool randomly flying across a bar is not an everyday occurrence.
I don't think I have to, but I can show this to you. And you can see they're reluctant.
Yes.
There's a little bit of a grimace as he reaches in and kind of fumbles around inside, and you hear a whole bunch of stuff in there before pulls it out and then lifts it to you but doesn't hand it over.
I think Phalia she would make sure that her hands were like either very visible or like behind her back or some, like something where she couldn't, in a non-threatening, like, I'm not going to grab this stool from you way, would slowly kind of like lean in a little closer to inspect it.
Okay.
In the most non-threatening way she can.
Quinn watches.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, roll me one of the three. It's a stool. It is a leg of a stool.
Yes.
It wasn't such a low number that you actually think it's a stool. Just by itself.
Yeah.
Quinn rotates it so you can see all sides of this leg.
Looks dwarven make. Probably spruce. Maybe 5 to 8 years old. Nice varnish.
Okay. Phalia like straightens back up. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate your acquiescence. Yes.
Yes.
Did that come across as
it away?
Sincere? Did Phalia come across as sincere, or was there an edge of sarcasm in that?
A slight edge of sarcasm. Yeah.
Does this mean that we're going to lose our memories too?
I certainly hope not.
I mean, it might not be all bad.
I wonder if the barkeep knows anything.
Barkeep, do you know anything?
Charlie looks over and he says, I only know what they pay me to know, so I don't know much unless you're asking for the right price. You can roll inside if you want.
Frantically checking how much money I have.
I'm
gonna put in my money.
18.
So,
my other 12s, by the way, I was rolling a d12 instead of a d20. Just want to point that out. Yeah. Go me. This one was an 18.
As you're looking at him and trying to figure out what's going on, you realize, well, he is a bartender. They're well known for being good sponges and not really like gabbing too much about people's secrets, but he also doesn't really seem like he's holding anything back. He doesn't seem to have picked up on the fact that you guys are like staring at the back of his neck every time he turns around. And he's not really following the conversation too much. He would probably know like some things, but with an 18, he probably doesn't know much about what you're thinking about.
Friend, you know you're in danger too, right?
Well, life is dangerous, and he takes a shot and kind of smiles and slams it down and says, everything is dangerous, really, when you think about it.
This I agree with, but you know that what they found on our necks, they found on your neck too?
What's that? And he kind of like touches the back of his neck. Hey, Charlie, let's see how you do. Charlie. And as he's feeling the back of his neck, he kind of gets an alarmed look on his face as he like does something. You can't see what he does with his hands because he's like, back there. But all of a sudden he kind of lurches forward, and as he does, it almost looks like out of his skin, this metal collar like pops out, and it seems to be now like resting on his skin. But from the look on his face, it was either really painful or really uncomfortable for him to do that. And as he does that, he just gets this incredibly like glazed look on his face. And then he almost looks like he's about to speak, and you see him fall to the floor on the other side of the bar.
I run to try to catch him.
Roll me an acrobatics or athletics to get there in time.
All right. 14.
14. You get there in time to like cushion his head. His body kind of has already hit, and you see him sort of convulsing.
Do I know anything that I can do to try to help stabilize him?
Roll me a medicine check.
15.
As you're kind of like seeing like what can I do, you're able to tell he's not breathing.
He's not breathing. He's not breathing. Something's killing him. Anybody have anything they can do about this? I got no healing magic, nothing.
I lean over to the bar and look down. From where I am, can I see exactly what's causing him to not breathe?
Roll me medicine.
I can do that, everybody. Nope, I can't.
No. You're looking down and you're just like,
This looks bad. That's really bad right there.
Oh, God, I didn't learn anything about healing.
Can only heal myself.
Can I use the superiority dice, the rally skill for this?
oh, let me see. I'm not.
It's a bonus action and we're not in combat, so I don't know if that's a thing that works then.
Can you read me the text of it?
On your turn, you can use a bonus action and expend one superiority die to grant a friendly creature who can see or hear you temporary hit points equal to the superiority die roll +0.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Look, if anyone needs to use a scalpel, I might be able to make you a bit more accurate, but other than that, I've got nothing.
It's an 8.
Okay. So he gets 8 temporary hit points.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
And to do it, I'm just kind of rubbing his shoulder and going, "You're going to be okay, buddy. You're going to be okay."
Cordassa is also just like she is sort of snapped out of like staring at Centagon completely like with a face, and is now like kind of backing away as she seems to have no idea what to do in this scenario.
Yeah, that would have been what snapped Centagon out of that as well, to be fair. Did we think a fireball would help?
I don't think a fireball would help.
Like the spell or the drink?
Either.
Finger guns.
Is he unconscious still?
He is still conscious, but it looks like he is struggling.
Okay. That's the best I have that I can do. I gave him all that I've got.
Maybe that thing he took off, maybe put it back on.
Where is it? Is it around?
Anyway, can I make a history check? What happened with Cordassa?
Sure. To answer the question of is it still around, it is still on his neck. It is just like, it looks like it is like protruding out of it. It doesn't quite look like it was buried under skin and surged out, but it looks pretty close. There's like, you can see a slight overlap of like fleshy bits on the very edges. I know.
I'm going to try to reinsert it into the fold of his skin, just like kind of push it back in.
Didn't we take it off of Cordassa? Did we remove it completely?
Is that what you're rolling for the history?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what we did.
Yes, you took it off of her completely, and I believe you kicked or mage-handed it and yeeted it away.
No, don't push it on. Pull it off and destroy it. Pull it off. Throw it in the air.
All right.
Throw it in the air.
Okay. I'm yanking on it.
Okay, make me a athletics.
That's a 25.
Okay,
Boom.
Fighter.
you yank it like completely off,
Mhm.
and as you do that, and then he passes out.
All right, I'm throwing it away from me, and away from anybody else. I'm not holding it. And is he stable?
As it flies through the air, can I firebolt it like a a clay pigeon?
Awesome.
16.
Okay. As it gets flown into the air and you're able to hit it, go ahead and roll me damage. 16.
All the 16s.
Almost your age.
My last 3 rolls have all been 16.
And it just like molts and is just this hunk of molten metal as it kind of splatters on this table that seems to sort of like burn a little bit as it hits it, and you can hear the wood kind of hiss screaming as this metal and this magic is sort of like seeping into it. And stop trying to eat my I'm peeling off small
fantasy sunglasses.
What'd you say?
Quinn puts on a pair of fantasy sunglasses.
Lovely. And are you putting them like over your monocle?
Yes.
Retroactively took it off, but yes.
So you said, is he stabilizing?
Yeah, does he seem like he's on his way out, or does he seem like he's unconscious and, doing better? Is he breathing? Is his heartbeat normal?
Roll me another medicine check.
Natural 20.
Okay. He is not breathing at all.
Shit.
And as you're sort of frantically looking around, you see what might be the only thing that could potentially be able to go around him is the necklace that Cordassa put up to your neck to match it.
Do I put 2 and 2 together?
Yeah.
Okay. That other necklace. Bring it over here. Bring it over here. We're going to lose him. Come on.
Kind of walks over to you and she like pulls her necklace away from her and says, "You need it?"
I think he does. Here, come on. Let's. I'm gonna grab it.
Like while it's on her, or like take it off?
No. I thought she was handing it to me. Yeah.
She's like starting to take it off.
Okay.
And she'll hand it to you.
All right, as quickly as I can, try to put it back on him.
So you're able to slip it on him. Everyone, make me a perception roll, please.
I hate perception. And perception hates me!
Same.
I had a 17. Switching to a D20 really helps.
Yeah. So you put this necklace on this man, and you see him kind of like, and he still seems to be unconscious. And as you kind of glance back over at Cordassa to thank her for it, you notice her doing one of these.
Oh God. Okay.
Oh no.
Okay.
Pentagon hasn't noticed.
No, Syntagon has not.
Can you?
I don't think I have either.
I don't know their name. You. Come back over here really quick before you.
She kind of like stumbles forward, and all of you can see her kind of like fall to her knees.
Is it big enough to go around 2 necks?
You can try. They would definitely be like If
I'm
it
gonna,
were.
I'm gonna roll him over on his back and try to get Cordassa to come and put it around both of their necks.
She starts moving but collapses on her way over.
All right, dragging him.
What's going on here?
She took the necklace off and now it's happening to her. I'm sorry, is she right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cordassa is, yes.
Oh.
Is a lady.
Oh. I look over at the pile of gloop where I melted the other necklace.
Yep.
And you find
I'm-
Quinn over there at the table also, kind of talking to the table.
So,
Hands gesturing, casting a spell.
so Sentagon, you see as you look over at this melting thing on this table, you see Quinn casting a spell on the table. And does that spell come with a roll?
Yeah. I'll do that as you resolve this.
And as you pull over this unconscious man to this also rapidly unconscious lady, make me a, let's say, a sleight of hand to try to get this necklace on both of them without breaking it.
14.
Okay. That'll do it. As you loop it on, it's kind of hard. You have to sort of take it off him and like get it over her horns and then put it back on him. And they're really
horns, man.
they're like super stuck. But as you do that, you see her start to breathe again, and she kind of like gets out of it. Charlie is still unconscious. Sentagon, make me a perception.
Oh, but I hate perception.
Then make me an arcana. I don't know.
No, I love perception.
is
I
fine.
love it. Perception's fine.
I'm making a bathroom check.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a nat 20p. All right. So as you're watching Quinn performing this spell, at first you're staring at Quinn and back at the necklace, and you see underneath the necklace the table where it's starting to be charred reform into being solid again, and the necklace, while still a hunk of twisted melted metal on top, doesn't seem to be affecting this table or have an effect that lasts on this table, as it seems to be absolutely fine where it had been charred and gross. And with a nat 20 perception, you can tell whatever he cast on this table, it definitely wasn't mending, and it wasn't prestidigitation.
Hang on a minute, what did I see? I saw the table is okay, or the necklace is okay?
Necklace is screwed. Table is absolutely fine. You saw it begin to like char, and it was like almost like when you put like fresh wood on a fire where it makes that kind of like hissing noise. And now it seems like it was never burned. It was never like hot. There's no like markings where this metal that was so hot it was like dripping just is sitting on it now, expectantly cooled. Like it's not like the metal's suddenly cold now. But the table is completely unmarred.
So I'll come and stand real close again. Hey there!
I don't notice.
That was a pretty cool spell you just did there.
I touched the necklace pieces. Okay.
Do you think you could... It's not salvageable? Did you say it's not salvageable? Do you think you could maybe fix it? Because my friend, you know...
You're tall, so...
I am tall. Yeah, sorry, I have high-heeled hooves. I was born with them.
Oh, those are nice.
Thank you. Sometimes you can bling them. Anyway, this isn't against the point. I might have accidentally destroyed that, and I think we might need it. I saw you fix the table there, and I was wondering if you could do something with the necklace too.
That's not really my jurisdiction. Does this look salvageable at all, or is it just in smithereens?
It's pretty in smithereens.
Yeah, you kind of destroyed it, my friend. And that's the end of that.
Does that mean my friend died?
Or she's twinsies for a really long time.
Or you just have to give her very breathy kisses for a while. Like forever.
Or we somehow find another one of these.
Hang on a minute! Syntagon bursts out of the bar.
Okay.
Are there still people on the
After him.
Are there still people on the street who look like the people in the bar?
No. In fact, as you burst out of the bar, you realize that this whole transporting Kent upstairs and having a bar fight is taking quite a few hours, and it's pretty dark outside when you get out there. There's nobody really walking in the street. There's still that same guard that was there when you first got there. The one that was very out of breath.
I was hoping there might be like fake people out here that we could take a necklace from.
I stick my head out the door and I say, "What are you doing?"
That is such a valid question. I have no idea. I've never known.
That's alright. We've all been there, right?
I only just got out of college.
Oh, baby doll. You're very tall for college. You're very tall in general.
High-heeled hooves.
With bling. You can bling them.
You can.
Well, maybe that's what you should do right now.
I'll go and bling my hooves.
Yes. Maybe you need some time to just decompress.
Oh, my friend's kind of like dying in there. Well, maybe my friend. I don't actually remember them. Could you check me for one of them colors?
Uh-huh. I can do that. I do that.
Okay. So go ahead and make me a roll.
Is that investigation?
Investigation, Arcana, or Perception.
Okay, let's do perception.
You do not feel anything on Syntagon.
I haven't checked myself yet. Can I feel too?
You don't feel anything on yourself either.
I kind of was really hoping for a second there that I might have one, and then we could give it to her. And
But then you wouldn't have one.
well, yeah, but at least I didn't. You know, I wouldn't have one. I'd be the person who destroyed one, so that would kind of balance things out a little bit.
That sounds not great. I don't think she would want that.
Is anyone... Oh, sorry.
That's okay. We should probably head back inside. I can't bling anything at this time of night. None of the shops will be open.
Does the body that you found, does that one have one? Or did you destroy that one?
Oh my god! Burst inside the room, run up the stairs.
So you run up the stairs, and because I don't want to be a puppet master of 100 people, you see Puck sort of dozing off over kind of a spread out piece of papers, and it seems like they've been kind of sketching Kent's likeness, and you see a couple little bottles of that fluid, the not blood, and you see Kent's still corpses just chilling on the bed.
With no due respect for the dead whatsoever, I rush over and start yanking at his neck. No, I cast knock on his neck. If there's anything on there that's locked, it should pop off.
Okay.
Perfect.
Let me read this. Okay. Awesome. So, honey. So all of you from downstairs see Syntagon rushing upstairs, and then you hear a very loud coming from echoing from upstairs. Syntagon, you cast knock, and you're kind of frantic, and then you're just like, fuck it, knock. And as you cast it right on his neck, you said?
Yeah.
His head falls off.
Oh!
And as the head becomes separated from the body, and sort of rolls off the bed onto the floor, the head becomes completely different. It no longer looks like Kent's head. It looks instead metallic. And as it sort of rolls to a stop, on the back of it, you see this.
Can I just try and I go to the head and just try and rip the neck section off, hoping that it's an unlocked necklace. It's morbid, but my friend's dying, so.
As you're sort of prying at this neck, this part of it, that part I just wrote, is sort of on the back of the skull, towards the base of it, and you're sort of picking up the body that still looks like Kent, and you don't see anything on the back of the neck, and you're looking at the back of his head, and all you see is that top part, and you can try to bring that giant metal orb downstairs.
Is it heavy?
It is very heavy.
Oh god. How heavy?
Roll me an athletics. Or are you asking about mage hands?
Is it? Yeah, is it less than 10 pounds?
No.
Oh god. Oh god. Syntagon be built.
So you kind of pull and push, and you're kind of thinking about how to go about it, and being more of the than the you kind of are you know what, actually, and you walk over to where Puck is. You can see your staff sort of stretched across them, and there's something weird hanging off the top of it, and you pick it up and you just go and you hit it, and it just sort of thunks through the floor and lands on top of the bar underneath. And after you all from downstairs hear this booming knock, you hear oh god, and then some scrambling, and then this big metallic, it looks like a head, crashes down and lands directly on the bar from upstairs.
I'll be right there.
Oh.
I think Phalia takes a step backwards.
As
trying
should.
Yeah.
I'm hovering over the two twinsies and just sort of try to make sure the head doesn't fall on them. I'm the appointed guardian here.
Cordassa is conscious, and she seems very uncomfortable but fine, and the other guy is breathing, but he has not regained consciousness.
Okay.
I think Phalia's trying to remain cool, calm, and collected, but she probably looks a little shook at everything that just has happened in the past several minutes. Is anybody else in the bar reacting yet? Are they? I mean,
Right.
things have gotten progressively weirder since the stool incident. Is anyone taking notice?
Make me a perception. With that, you can tell pretty much everyone else is leaving the bar.
Fair.
A
A reasonable reaction.
They don't seem to be like running, screaming, but they are leaving.
Can I tell this? Do I need to roll for it? Do I notice that as well, or do I need to roll?
Go ahead and make me a roll.
Yeah. Perception, is that what I'm rolling?
Mm-hmm.
5. I'm busy.
Yeah.
Is there anyone at all that seems to be, lingering behind at all, or is...
It is just you three and the 2 conjoined twins.
So whatever got done to his neck that pulled that necklace out, we need to make sure does not get done to our necks.
I was just thinking the same thing.
And I'm not really clear on what it was, are you?
No, it happened almost when he touched it or when he found it.
Okay.
Maybe don't touch your own neck at all ever again. Because that's my current plan.
I'm going to actually reach out for my shirt that I tossed on the floor and kind of drape it over my neck and tie.
Okay. Cordassa kind of watches you all doing this, and she, again looking very uncomfortable, says, "If only there was a blacksmith somewhere."
I have proficiency with smith tools.
Oh.
I don't exactly have a forge, though.
She kind of like laughs a little, as much as she can. And she says, "Well, if you had maybe heat metal or a fireball that could heat it back up over again, or..."
Don't know. Could I do something with that?
If you can cast fireball.
Oh no, I was thinking someone else could cast fireball, and then I could use my smith tools that I'm proficient with.
You could try. You would have to be very, very lucky.
Worth an ask.
Is it cool if Syntagon walks back in at this point? I know lots about fire!
Yeah, I mean, you probably want an actual expert. Like, I can just kind of do field repairs. That's not exactly stick figure necklace creation level skills.
Didn't mean to click that, I'm sorry.
I was like, okay, I'm reading.
But I'll try. I mean,
surely there must be a blacksmith somewhere in town.
Kinda late.
Would that we could ask the barkeeper.
I'm going to step out for a smoke break. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, a smoke
Be
break.
right back. And then he just adjusts his cloak as he stands, and he goes to the door and looks back at everyone else first, and then slides out the door.
Okay.
Does Phalia buy the smoke break thing?
Can roll an insight.
Because Becca doesn't.
I
feel like people would just smoke in the bar.
Did you say insight?
The table's smoking, so...
Okay. You said insight?
Yeah.
I have the counterroll.
Becca definitely, definitely buys it.
Quinn seems like a shy smoker.
Yeah, totally. Very honest, shy smoker.
Yeah, probably doesn't want to smoke inside because then it might linger on this really fabulous outfit he has going on, so...
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking we could set, the table was nearly already nearly on fire until Quinn stopped it being on fire using some kind of magic spell. I don't know exactly what it was, but it definitely wasn't prestidigitation or mending. And, We could set something else on fire, and then I could use a combination of prestidigitation and thaumaturgy to get it to the right temperature if you need to get it to, like, some sort of forge temperature or something.
Do we think... I mean, that could work, but do we think that that's actually just making the shape is going to make the magic? Because I don't know much about magic, but I can make shapes, and they don't disappear in people's necks or make them unconscious or, you know.
Do an Arcana check?
Yeah. So what exactly are you trying to, like, is this possible? Is that the question?
Yeah. Melt the head into a necklace.
Yikes.
Not a sentence I thought I'd hear today.
So thinking about it, thinking about how you imagine the composition of a head to be, there might be some semblance of not metal involved in this head as it thought, and so possibly there is like brain inside. You might want to use something else metal, but you think it could definitely work if you got the rune just right. As you're casting about, you can find that there are metal things in the bar. There's some metal railing, there's some metal accents on things. There is metal you can find.
So you're saying that the metal doesn't matter, it's the rune?
There is metal, and you think it would work.
Well, now Syntagon just wants to write on her forehead.
Right on her forehead.
Try it.
Or, shoulder or something.
Okay. Do you have something to write with? I'm sure you do.
I'm fairly sure I do. I'm a wizard and a scholar. I do!
Okay.
I have an ink pen!
Make me either a sleight of hand, a performance, or an arcana to get the rune correct.
I'm so glad you said arcana at the end of that.
So as you just sort of walk up to Cordassa and like...
I'm gonna trace the rune on her bicep, I think, dipping it in the ink several times. And then I'm gonna get my sand, because old habits die hard, and pour sand on her arm also.
Okay, so what are you making? The whole rune? Are you making part of the rune? Which rune are you making? Because you've seen 3 iterations of it. You've seen the whole thing. You've seen just this part, and you've seen just this part.
When we looked at her, it was just the bottom part, I think, so I'll just do the bottom part.
Okay. So you make this and you toss some sand on it, and as you kind of brush it off a little bit, she's breathing fine. It seems, as you're kind of comparing it to the necklace, it seems like it is correct. And how hard did you press? Like, is this like a cut? Is this like, do I need to roll damage for it? Or is it just like on the surface? Like the ink.
I think I'm possibly doing it with a very sharp quill.
Okay.
And it might be somewhat akin to a tattoo.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So you do so. She seems to be breathing fine. She is still underneath this necklace. And as you kind of finish, you look at it, you compare it, and you're like, well, this looks right. And you can see kind of like a little bit of blood kind of coming down from where you may have pressed in some places just a little too hard.
It's okay, the sand will get that.
Should we try taking the necklace off?
Hang on, let me roll damage for Cordassa. It won't be a lot.
She's your friend or sister or whatever, so it's your call.
I don't know what she is to me. But she seems important. Let's try picking her up, I guess, without the necklace.
Okay.
I'll stand over there!
I'm gonna just delicately try to get the necklace just off of her, keeping it on the barkeep.
Because of her horns, that's fairly impossible. You would probably have to take it off of him and then take it off of her.
Okay, I'm gonna try to take it off of both of them and then really quickly put it back on him.
So he's still unconscious. As you remove it, he stops breathing, and she kind of like takes a big breath as it's just on her before you take it off and you put it on him. And she kind of is still for a moment. And roll me a medicine or perception.
A medicine or perception?
Mhm.
12.
You don't really see her breathing, but she doesn't look like she's passing out.
Can I tell that I'm not really sure?
You can't really see either way. She just looks very, very still.
All right. Someone check her while I keep monitoring this guy.
Ophelia will check her.
Okay.
What am I rolling?
Medicine or perception? Okay. So as you're sort of like, you're peering close, you kind of put a hand underneath. You can feel very shallow, brief, like unsteady breathing. She's breathing.
Is it worse than it was before?
Before she was not breathing. When she was under the necklace, she seemed to be breathing fine. And at this, she seems to be not hyperventilating, but those very short, like, kind of breaths.
She's breathing, but it's faint.
Should I do some more of the rune?
How fainted is it? Do we have time for them to try?
Phalia, with that roll, you'd be able to tell. Like, it feels like she could go on like this for a bit. Probably not more than like an hour.
I believe she has time, but let's not dally.
Okay.
Okay. Scribble.
Okay. Where are you? Are you continuing to make the top part of the rune?
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Okay. So,
I feel like I'm making such a big mistake.
okay. So, as you start the top of this, you get like the first, where do you start, like at kind of like the bottom of the U, or do you start kind of up here?
Well, I just did the bottom bit right with the cross section, so I would have finished bringing that line up first, and then I would have done, I would have started top left and gone.
So as you sort of drag your pen up, she slaps your hand out of the way, and as she does, make me a wisdom saving throw. Okay. As she does, and your pen goes kind of soaring,
Oh, the nib!
you kind of have like a fleeting pseudo memory of her doing this before, but with a smile and a hand wave instead of this motion like that. Sort of more of like a pushing your hand away and smiling than a stop, which is, she definitely has this panic look as she's like, and like gets your hand out of the way. Quinn, you walk into this as Centagon is standing over Cordassa, who has like a line of blood down her arm, and this pen goes flying as she smacks his hand away.
Can I try and make a dex save to catch the pen?
Yes.
Fire wizards.
No!
You don't! But
Oh,
you can
that's
see where it
rude.
went.
Can I make a dex save to catch the pen?
Yes.
God.
Wait.
Such a power move.
Centagon kind of like scrambles and kind of like is looking at Cordassa at the same time, and it flies out of his reach, And Quinn just sort of, as they open the door.
Why are wizards like this?
Good catch. You gonna help us?
I put it back. I put it into my bag, and then I come over and take a look. Oh boy, that's grotesque.
I think maybe you need to give the tiefling back that pen.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure. We're trying to keep someone alive over here.
I don't know if you are. Or maybe you should ask her.
What's wrong?
I can't breathe. And she seems to like really be struggling to get any of this out, as this hand that had smacked yours away is kind of like that thing where you're like struggling internally to do something, like when you have like a really bad like stomach pain go across you, or like you like really have to belch and you're keeping it in. You're just sort of like, if I make my body strong enough, I'll keep it inside.
Do I need to put the necklace back on? Do we have any other plan for what to do? I don't want to lose her while we're busy thinking or arguing over who has a pen. All right, I'm going to start putting the necklace back on.
Okay. As you take it off of Charlie, who is now breathed and not breathed and breathed and not breathed, he's actually going to make a death saving throw. Cool. And he fails his first death saving throw.
Oh boy.
And
I will use Spare the Dying to put out a hand and touch his body, I guess. I don't know how that's going to work out.
It will buy him some time.
Okay.
But he is still not to the breathing for the moment. As you get this back, and then I'm gonna need another sleight of hand to get it over both of them without breaking it.
15.
Okay. As you start doing it, and you're kind of struggling, as this panic is getting worse, part of the chain breaks and a section kind of splits off, and about this much about this much of the chain kind of falls to the floor. It looks like you'd be able to reconnect the links, but you're going to lose some length doing it.
Okay. All right. We lost some length here. Can you try to melt them back together? Let's see if we can make them long enough. You said you had fire stuff.
Yeah, how much fire?
Is it like fire stuff that if it's close to people, it's going to kill them, or is it just heat up some metal fire stuff?
I don't have a heat metal spell, but I do have some targeted spells or over the area effect spells.
Don't really know what that means, but it sounds bad. So if I'm holding the pieces together, are they either of them breathing?
Hang on a minute, I've got an idea. I'll cast a fire chromatic orb, but I'll only cast one. Just try dipping the ends in!
Okay. They melt a bit. And go ahead and make me a Constitution save to not take damage from this really hot metal up against you.
Yeah, you should always
13.
Okay. I'm gonna take a little. Take 2 points of damage.
Okay. I got it. Are they kind of squishing back together?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Is it enough to be around both of them?
No.
We got one or the other. We can't do both.
Oh man. I don't know how to DM in Yes, Quinn. The answer is yes.
Okay.
All right, let me roll death saving throw for Cordassa.
Oh god, death saving throws!
Who am I putting this necklace
Okay.
on?
Cordassa, kind of gasping for breath, kind of points to Charlie. And
Charlie's just a barely named NPC.
thanks for the raid, folks.
Welcome, Raiders. We're in the middle of death throes. It's emotional.
I'm gonna do some like combat triage. Who is most likely to live? Who looks stronger?
Insider medicine.
Same difference. That's just on its edge. 17.
Well, Cordassa is conscious and Charlie is not. Cordassa is breathing a little bit from this yick. Charlie is not. So if you're wondering who could stand to not wear this longer, it's probably Cordassa. If you think there's some other solution, if you're saying like straight up like, okay, if we don't do anything, who's gonna die first? It's probably Charlie.
Yeah. No, I'm doing triage in the sense of I want to keep the one most likely to stay alive, so I'm gonna put it on her.
Okay. You slip it on her, and as you do, she breathes very deeply. And are you just sort of like hooking it on and like...
And then I'm just gonna kind of rub the shoulder of the barkeep and just watch.
Okay.
Maybe hold his hand.
Okay.
Syntagon, maybe you should carve that symbol into the bartender.
I mean, when I did that to Cordassa, she kind of slapped it away like it was a bad thing to do. I mean, I could do.
When you did the first part, it helped a little.
Yeah.
Do the first part.
Okay. And I'll...
Or wait,
Oh, wait, I don't have my pen, though. Quinn, can I have my pen?
You feel that? It feels like the lights are about to go out. I'm going to use thaumaturgy to turn the lights out.
Okay.
And then in that moment, I'm going to do the thing.
Okay.
I will put it on the bartender.
Okay. You turn the lights back on, or are they off?
And then the lights flicker back on.
Okay. So as the lights come back on, Charlie still seems unconscious. Cordassa still seems to be sitting where she is, kind of like holding her head, looking vaguely nauseous. And Quinn is holding up standing. Are you holding out the pen?
Yeah, I actually am. I'm going to offer it back to its owner.
What the hell just happened?
Yes, what
just happened?
That?
Yeah, that was strange, wasn't it?
You kind of preempted it. Do I still have to detect magic up?
I think it's been more than 10 minutes as we've been watching people suffocate and die and trying
Heads
to
roll.
Yeah.
literally, you know
No
how
breaks. Come on, we don't have time. Write the symbol. Do the symbol. Come on.
Right the symbol. Okay. And Charlie doesn't look any different since the lights went out?
Roll me a perception or medicine as you get close to him.
I'm suck at both of those.
Yeah. No, he looks no different.
Okay. Quinn's pulling faces. I start drawing.
Can Felia also do like a perception check? I feel like she would be looking for weirdness as well.
Yeah.
This is a very odd situation. Oh,
He looks exactly
God. I have a +5 in perception. Literally a +5. And I have
Goodness.
like bombed all of those rolls.
Welcome,
Hey, Speedy.
Raiders!
Welcome, Raiders. Hi, Speedy and Co. How you doing, everyone?
Looks like we got a new friend.
So, as you're all sort of looking at this collapse Charlie. Syntagon, you're gonna have to make me another Arcana or whichever you wanted to do to get that that symbol looking good.
Okay. Oh boy.
I will go over and just crouch right next to him.
Crouch next to him.
Crouch
Okay.
So, like,
right next
it's kind
to
of
him.
rubbish, so I guess it's a... Oh, no, hang on a minute. This is a square. I don't want to draw a square. I guess it kind of looks a bit crap this time.
So as Syntagon is sort of like trying and like handshaking a little, and Quinn is like kind of like crouched down right next to you. You kind of messed it up real bad. And you kind of look back at it, and you're smart enough to know like this doesn't look right. And you kind of like look at Charlie to see if it's had any effect whatsoever, because for all you know, this is some strange other rune that means something completely different, and you've cast some other effect on him.
This doesn't look like a stick man. It looks like a crazy arm waving wibbly wobbly advertising man.
Inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Hey, Babaz, thank you
by
for the
that
sub.
drawing.
Babaz,
The
you
rest-
have a reroll to gift. Please gift it to me.
Y'all can make, now that this rune is on Charlie, you can make another roll to see how it is affecting him. I will accept Arcana, Medicine, or Perception.
Oh, thank God.
Okay. Are you the only one who's poking around at him?
I don't know.
I guess
I mean, I'll
also
do
be
a
looking-
medicine check if I can.
Oh, Rolls, why have you forsaken me? Thank you for the reroll, Babaz.
20!
Okay. A nat 20?
Not 20.
Nice. Okay, so with a 10 in Arcana, that rune ain't right. You don't really feel it having any like different effect that's unexpected. With 2 nat 20s on this, one in medicine and one in perception. As you are looking, Freightlia, and you're like, okay, you see the chest rise and fall with regularity, and you see him kind of like have some like kind of hand spasms as his body starts to kind of unrelax. Like he's still very limp, but he's still not conscious, but it doesn't seem like dying unconscious. With the medicine side of it, you see all the breathing going on, and you're kind of looking at this rune too, and it doesn't look like the rune is having the same effect as it had on Cordassa when it got carved in. As opposed to having these shallow breaths, he's actually taking like full deep breaths. You're pretty sure that medicinally this rune is shit. Like, not doing anything.
But he's breathing better.
Seems to be breathing normally.
Believe it or not, I think you actually improved on your last performance.
What?
He's breathing.
Something seems to have helped, at the very least.
Yeah. And he's not breathing the way she was. He's breathing.
I want to look at Quinn and roll an insight check. I don't know exactly what I'm questioning, but I'm questioning everything.
Yeah, basically.
Who are you?
Okay. So, your wizard eyes pierce into the soul of Quinn. Quinn, you feel very pierced into. It's awful convenient that Quinn just sort of slipped out. Lights went out as soon as he came back in.
Look at that look.
And then when the lights come back on, as you're kind of thinking back to it, you know, his arm was kind of moving a little bit even before you drew this on him. You saw Quinn cast a weird spell before. And as you're kind of looking and you're kind of trying to piece things together, Quinn might know some things that no one else knows. Because Quinn does not have this mark. Quinn, you haven't seen any sort of necklace.
And they didn't ping with the magic.
They didn't ping with the magic. And they seem like they're being a little shifty in terms of they're not really looking at you guys as much when you're all like debating things. They're looking around at the scenery more. They've been hovering over tables and chairs more than they've been hovering over this person, these people. Instead of panicking, they just went outside. They don't really even seem perturbed by the giant metallic head sitting on the bar. And maybe they're just very unflappable. Maybe.
Anyway, wizard, your really grotesque rune. I guess that worked. Why don't I heal this this damage you did on your friend, your sister friend.
Are healing people, aren't you?
That's something I do. Yes.
Ow.
I will cast healing word. So I will reach out and touch Cordas's arm where it's got the injury on it, and just heal, which is 1. Let me roll that. I remember how to do that. Yes. For that many points.
Okay. She looks up at you, kind of looking vaguely exhausted but appreciative as you see the skin kind of knitting shut. And she reaches up and kind of brushes the sand and the blood off. And you can still see a very thin, faint, like, scar on her bicep where it was carved in. Syntagon is continuing to stare at you as he sees that you have cast healing magic.
We see that too, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
right.
Everyone roll me a perception check. I'm sorry I keep making you roll this. I like that smile. 7, okay.
I don't see nothing.
Syntagon, it depends. If it's to do with Quinn, then I'll roll, but if it's not to do with Quinn, then I'll choose to fail, because I'm very distracted.
It is not to do with Quinn.
I will choose to fail.
Okay.
Am I rolling?
Yes.
Ooh.
Are you
No,
rolling?
that's
That's the
the
question.
way they do it, I guess.
Okay, so Quinn is just staring down Syntagon with kind of a what you gonna do about it face. And Syntagon is squinting back with a very I'm gonna figure it out face. And
With a lot of fear.
Jolin is kind of like watching these two, like, I don't know, something's not adding up, but I'm not really sure what's going on. And Phalia, you're sort of looking at this scene and you kind of like shake your head a little bit and kind of look around again at, seeing if anyone else is still left in the bar. And as you look out, you see a bookshelf move past the window.
Do you see that? Do you see that bookshelf? Look, it's moving.
Huh? What?
I do the thing where I swivel on my long neck.
You swivel
Like the Loch
around,
Ness Monster.
and you see a bit of motion at the corner of the window, but you can't really see what it was. You just see like the tail end of a blur.
Phalia's definitely gonna go over there to inspect it.
Are you going to the window, or are you like going out and like out the door?
Wait, where did the bookshelf move to and from?
Outside, past the window.
So like a bookshelf just kind of like drove past the window, basically.
I mean, it could have been in a cart. Somebody could have been pushing it, but you just saw a bookshelf move past.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna like peek my head out the door and look down the street in the direction of the bookshelf.
Is this the kind of bar where they made us yield our weapons when we entered, or do we have weapons?
Oh God, Charlie doesn't care.
Oh, good. All right, I'm following and I'm drawing a sword.
Okay. So as Phalia looks out and Jolene comes as well, you see a bookshelf sliding down the main road, and it looks like it's going relatively fast. You can't tell if someone's pulling it from the other side, but somebody is definitely not pushing it. It's definitely not on wheels. You can hear sort of a as it moves across.
Is it downhill?
Nope.
Like, okay.
That's a bookshelf, right?
It appears to be a bookshelf moving of its own accord.
I am not ruling out something in our drinks.
But do I hear this conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to stand, breaking eye contact, and I'm just going to run out the door.
Okay.
I'm following her. Him, they, sorry. I'm just very, I'm so shocked right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm following Quinn.
Syntagon is going to stay in the bar and try and figure this out. He's going to trace the rune on the table in front of him and try and figure out what it means.
Okay. You can roll me an investigation or an arcana.
I'm going to grab a textbook from my bag and start comparing it to other things and roll a 50. No, I'm not going to roll a 50. I'm going to burn that reroll. And roll a 23. I have to be gone for a minute.
Sorry, y'all.
Go for it.
Okay. So you're pulling out this book, and you have you kind of motion Cordassa over, and she kind of puts the necklace in front of you, and then you kind of shift this big metal head around, and you're looking at it, and you're seeing two parts to this. You're seeing the rune that goes like that, and the rune. I'm not even drawing on the right layer. Let me just.
Okay. Where is it? Let me see.
Bam. So you're seeing kind of two parts of the rune. You're seeing the part that goes out that's on Cordassa's necklace, and you're seeing the part. Oops, I forgot a leg. I can read my own stuff. And you're seeing the part at the top. God bless it. I would love to draw on the right layer. So you're looking, and so he only has the top part. She only has the bottom part, and Charlie had the whole thing. And you remember when you first talked to Charlie, when he talked back, because the first time he didn't say anything, he seemed like everyone else and thought that the city was totally normal in this whole, even though there's something hinky about this. And in the time that you've been talking to Kent, he, after a moment, was like, I don't know what to do from here. I'm not sure where to go. He seemed very confused. But seeing as he might be made of metal, probably doesn't need to breathe. But Charlie and Cordassa, they definitely poke. Yeah, they probably need to breathe. So you're thinking maybe the bottom part is that breathing aspect to it. And maybe that top part is that enchantment part of it that seemed to be causing problems with Cordassa's memory, causing problems with Kent's memory. Going to outside, Phalia and Drolan, You're watching this kind of bewildered as this bookcase is not like Beauty and the Beast in it, just sliding along. And you see Quinn burst out of the inn and kind of look. And are you like booking it after it?
Well, where are you going? Where? I follow after her.
When you say, where are you going? The bookcase kind of stops and you see it kind of like if a bookcase could look over its shoulder, it would be looking over its shoulder. It kind of does that thing where it like turns a little bit and then kind of like hobbles back and then continues to go forward, but it seems to be kind of falteringly as Quinn runs up to it.
I'm following.
Yeah, also following, and while following, turns to Drolin and says, Did he just talk to a bookshelf?
Yeah, and it answered.
Oh, that's weird.
I'm following, and I forgot it's a glaive and not a sword that I have, so... but I'm, like, not sure which person to be brandishing it at. Person, Quinn, or the bookshelf. I just called a bookshelf a person. I don't know which one. So I'm just kind of hold it out for both and waiting.
Yeah, also have my spear ready to stab something.
As you're kind of like analyzing the situation, Freya, you've definitely been in situations where you've had to like look and observe things, and Drolin, you're used to like analyzing the battlefield as it moves, and so you're kind of like not only looking at Quinn running and this bookshelf running, but you're also looking around you as you're running through the town. And Quinn, you're looking kind of as well, kind of seeing what this bookshelf is doing. And you notice that it is beelining for this sort of like cloth that is laid against the side of the sheer cliff that is coming up from the town onto the rest of the plain.
Like a giant cloth?
Mm-hmm. It's probably like the size of a skinny elephant. Not the shape, but the size. D&D, where we measure things in elephant teeth.
And it's far away?
I mean, it's getting closer. But yes.
So now I'm brandishing it like all three. Not really sure.
Oh, the cloth is against the wall. It's not moving. But
okay.
Yeah, the bookcase is moving closer. And Quinn, what is your move speed?
30. Can I also look over my shoulder to see if it's running from something?
For sure. Make me a perception check. It's kind of dark.
Hey, that's great, everybody. Let's see how that works this time.
Okay.
Yay.
So you cast over your shoulder. You see two former strangers wielding weapons and chasing you. But aside from that, you don't really see any threat. And as you look back at this bookshelf, you can see that it kind of like shifts back to almost like look at you again. And you can see that the side panel is a different color than the rest of it, as it then sort of like turns back, and some of its books, you can hear them sort of fall onto the ground as it continues to hustle off towards this tarp.
Does it look like it's... How far is it from the cloth? Like, and is it slowing down, or does it look like it's just going to collide with this tarp cloth?
It does not appear to be slowing down, but it still seems to be a good like 30 feet away from it, 40 feet away from it.
So I have a speed of 45. Is it possible for me to like...
Monks.
I'm fast. I can't heal anybody. I can run. I can run and hit things. Would it be possible for me to get at least ahead enough to like to use my sphere to kind of like maybe to see if there's any... I want to know if there's anything behind the cloth. I want to know if I can use my spear and move the cloth aside before the bookshelf gets to it.
Are you using your class feature Step of the Wind that allows you to use a key point to use your dash as a bonus action?
Yes, I am.
Then yes, you can.
I am now.
So, Drolan, you're sort of running next to Phalia, and you're sort of like, and Phalia's just like, huh, and then just like Roadrunner-esque, like just like flees. And Quinn, you're like jogging like as fast as you can, and you're like kind of closing on this bookcase, who's also, I mean, moving fast for a bookcase seems to be a bit of like if it's moving, it's fast for bookcase, but it seems to be moving fairly purposefully as a bookcase. And you feel a gust of wind as somebody speeds past you, and you are able to make it to the tarp. And are you like poking at it? Are you trying to like lift it? Are you
I
like
want to use my spear. Like I don't, in case of some kind of like, I don't know, black hole under there. Yeah, I want to use my spear to just like lift it up and see if there's anything behind it.
So you kind of like edge your spear underneath and you lift it up, and there is a giant hole in the side of this wall.
Oh,
magic hole under the city. Magic hole under the city.
As you're kind of looking around at it, you can see that there's a bit of like wood structuring around it. It does not appear to be just like a worm and tunnel or a random like rocks just sank into the world here. And the other two of you can see this sort of lift up, and you see this blackness beyond. You can't really see the wood, you're not that close, but you see this like blackness in this wall of this earthen wall.
Maybe back away from that?
How big is this hole?
There's probably like this much tarp on any side of the hole, and the rest of it is whole. So
holy bananas.
Juvenile starving elephant size.
Am I confused by the appearance of this, or is this like normal to see?
You are unsurprised.
I am unsurprised.
But you are rather surprised that this bookcase is going underground.
Okay.
Or attempting to go underground.
Are the books inanimate after they fall off the bookshelf?
You're kind of behind it, but as you continue to go past and you can look at a couple books, roll me a perception. See how much you get here.
5.
They do not appear to be moving.
Okay.
Quinn, roll me a perception also, Quinn.
Okay, I will do that. This is going so well for me. Yay!
They don't appear to be moving. And we're going to flash back to Syntagon studying these runes.
Do you have to flash back to Syntagon? Syntagon's an idiot.
Don't underestimate yourself.
Yeah,
Right.
no, they are a bit breezy though. Syntagon will the only thing that he can think to do to test this rune and see what sort of effect it does is to draw it on his own hand.
Okay. With what?
But not the breathy one, because like, well, not with the pen, because that would be like a tattoo, right? But he figures if he was to dip his finger in ink and just like do it on the surface, like,
Okay.
you know, that would be quite easily removable, right?
Mhm.
So, but at the same time, he really doesn't want to.
Okay.
He quite likes his skin. It's a nice shade of pink.
I mean, you do have two people here. If you feel like being questionably moral.
I'm not doing it to either of the injured people.
You just
Like-
make them so breathless.
I feel like I feel like Syntagon's from the School of Science in the times when the best way to test things was to test it on yourself, because then you get the full experience, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have control groups and things. So I think he's gonna dip his finger in the ink, just a nail, and just like gently trace the top rune.
Okay.
on his hand.
Arcanus,
start-
do it. Correctly?
He'll only do a little bit. He'll only do a little bit. He's just gonna do the first symbol.
So just are you doing the entirety of the top symbol until you feel something?
He's just gonna do. Hang on. He's just gonna do. Fade across again. He's just gonna do. That.
Okay. You do it. It looks pretty good. You don't really feel anything.
Okay, well, if I don't feel anything, then I'll go ahead and start drawing the line down through the middle as well.
I'll let that Arcana roll continue. You do it, and make me a Wisdom save.
Because I'm conscious of what's happening,
Okay.
could I convince you it's an intellect save? So I'm trying to learn, you know.
Make me both.
Oh boy. Okay, we'll go for the wisdom save first.
I don't know if that helped you or
Okay.
hurt you.
I neither do I. I never do.
Okay. So the Wisdom save is going to be against the effect, and the Intellect save is going to be to continue to analyze it while the effect happens to see what's going on. So, luckily, because it is ink, which you're going to figure out with that Intellect save, it's very low. And as you kind of like dip this in, you can tell that this is a magic rune. You know that it's right. And you're analyzing how it feels against you. And you feel a very slight, almost tug at like your most recent memory, like of dipping your finger in that ink. It's still there, but you feel this weird, like it's almost hazy. And as you're feeling it and like maybe smearing it a little, you can tell that like this ink is not the best to get, like the best medium. It seemed to work better when it was carved, and it seems to, so far, the best effect you've seen has been this metal, like inlaid in flesh. And with the intellect save as well, I will give you kind of feel like this is familiar, this sort of tugging at your memory from an earlier morning at a bar where you woke up with no memory of sock puppets and balloon animals.
I'm going to stop pulling the shocked face and ask the question that was in my mind before you blew it.
Okay.
Do I feel like I could forget how to breathe?
With the top part?
Yeah, Syntagon's trying to figure out why the bottom part needs to come along with the top part if the bottom part's just breathing.
You feel like it would be within your power as an intellect to convince yourself to not breathe, but you do not feel that there is any effect of the top part of the rune in making you not breathe. So it's not like the top is canceling out your breathing ability, both.
Hey, I imagine we'll probably pan away, but I'm gonna start walking towards Cordassa with a, sort of troubled should I, shouldn't I sort of look on my face.
Okay. Can you make me an unintentional intimidation roll? Fantastic.
It would be good, wouldn't it?
So, panning back to chasing down a bookcase.
Is the bookcase now behind Phalea? Am I saying your name right? Phalea?
Failure.
Phalia.
Phalea,
Phalea.
sorry. Is the bookcase now behind her and heading toward her?
It is Tarp, Phalea, bookcase, Quinn, you.
Okay, glaive down on the bookcase if I can get close to it.
Yeah, go ahead and roll me a strike check.
Threatening my sort of companion.
Yeah, it is definitely showing no sign at slowing down in front of
Let's go come barreling into you. 17? to
Cool
hit?
beans.
17. Let me see an armor class here.
On a bookshelf.
On a bookshelf.
Heck yeah.
A 17 will hit. Go ahead and roll me damage.
Cool. Just a second. 8.
Okay. Some of the wood splinters off. And as you splinter some of this wood off, you can... Do you have dark vision? Or low light vision?
I don't do Dragonborn.
No, they don't.
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
So the wood seems to be kind of sappy as it kind of splinters off the wood that you've got off.
Can I angle my swing so that I'm pushing the bookshelf so that it's not on a collision course with my friend?
Yeah. Go ahead and roll me an athletics on top of that, just to see how far you can get it to the.
12.
12. Okay. It definitely slides a bit. It's still headed kind of in that direction, but it's kind of more at an angle now.
Okay.
Quinn, this person just like you see this weapon come and kind of reach, kind of like beside you and kind of jab and sort of pull this bookshelf a little off course. As some of it. Do you have dark vision?
I don't know if Azamar do. I didn't.
Azamar.
Probably not, because we're kind of human, but not really.
Yeah,
So
I don't think they do. So you can see the same bits as well. It seems a bit sappy as it comes off.
Well, there's a lot of shock. There is just straight up shock, and then hold person. Drollin.
Okay. Is that a spell save?
That's a spell save, wisdom DC 14, I think.
Okay.
16.
Okay. Yes. So you definitely see Quinn turn with like, what is it? Shock, fury? How is your face looking?
It is shocked, but it is also like, I guess a little bit afraid.
Okay. So shock and fear turn towards you and cast something at you. And you can sort of feel like the magic arcana sort of wash over you, but it doesn't really take whatever it is. You're not able to tell, was it offensive? Was it a buff? Who knows?
I pull like I give a dragon grimace and say bookshelf incoming.
Yeah. I think at this point, Phalia just really wants to like stop the bookshelf from going through the hole, because she feels like if it goes through that hole, it's lost forever and they're never going to find out.
The mystery of the bookshelf.
I know. So I think what I would like to attempt to do, and please tell me if I cannot do this. I want to unarmed strike it, and then use flurry of blows, which then allows me to use my open hand technique to force it to do a strength saving throw, and if it fails, I push it 15 feet.
Okay, yeah. You can do that. Make me some rolls.
Sure. Okay, so first would be the unarmed strike. Not great.
That will not hit.
Okay. And then I'm going to use one key with flurry of blows. Right? Is that how I don't know if I'm doing this right.
Do you have to land your strike to use flurry of blows? Or is
maybe.
it just make an attack? Does it have to hit? That sounds like.
It says immediately after you take the attack action on your turn, you can spend one key point to make 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action.
Yep. So go ahead and do your
My 2 unarmed strikes, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then if I hit with one of them, I can impose the open hand technique.
Okay.
Okay. So first unarmed strike, flurry of blows.
That'll hit.
And second.
That'll hit.
Perfect. Okay. Then I would like to use my open hand technique to force them to do a strength saving throw.
Okay. And go ahead and roll me some damage as well.
Yes, that's right. Let's see. So
you can just click where it says monk unarmed strike, and it will roll damage if you want to do it in roll 20.
Okay, because that's what I've been clicking to make the roll.
No, and so like in the chat, if you, I'm gonna do it on the one that missed. If you just click on the unarmed, the underlined monk unarmed strike, it'll roll.
Okay.
Damage.
Got it. There's one, and do I need to do the other one, or you did the first
Yeah,
one?
they both hit. Just roll them both. Okay. I can do math. I promise. Okay. And it's strength. What is the save, or is it against you or something?
Let me see. 8 plus my proficiency bonus plus my wisdom modifier.
Okay.
So 8, 9, 10, 11. So 12.
Okay. You're
13.
able to and as you're doing it, some books are kind of flying. You are an elf. I know you have dark vision.
I do.
As these books are kind of flying off and some of them open up to pages, as you try to like push it and you're looking and you can see that these pages seem to be, the sap is red as it is just coating these pages. And the bookshelf kind of stops, like it's kind of right on top of you, not like on top of you, but like it is like
in my face.
If it was breathing, you could feel its breath on your nose, like that close. And it just sort of sits there. And as it sits there, it almost seems to be kind of like vibrating, as it can't really get into this hole without mowing you over. There seems to be a hesitation before doing so. And we're going to snap back over to Syntagon, who seems distressed as he is approaching Cordassa with moderate intimidation.
Syntagon would like to take a candle from somewhere in the bar. There's bound to be a candle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure using a combination of thaumaturgy and prestidigitation, I could sort of turn the candle flame into like a... It'll burn real quick, but like into like a blowtorch flame.
Yeah, I'll
And
do that.
Want to try and etch out the top part of the rune on the necklace.
Her necklace?
The necklace that they put on her neck.
So the one that was against her got blown to smithereens. She is still wearing one that she came with that has just the bottom part.
Syntagon rethinks his actions. What? But she couldn't breathe.
When she took it off, she couldn't breathe.
I'm gonna take off the one with the top bit on. Yeet it.
So Charlie's is destroyed. Hers is destroyed. The one that had the top bit. The only top bit that you have to copy off of is on the back of Kent's head. You have yeeted, and then the one on your hand that is there and is kind of burning the longer you leave it there, as you sort of feel it kind of almost sort of creeping into the memories again that you've made most recently.
I'll prestidigitate that away. Clean.
As you do, make me another wisdom save. Sorry. Kind
of. What is happening?
Good.
My third eye opens.
As you do, and you prestidigitate this away, you look at it one last time, and a sensual, I feel bad saying that, what's about to come out of my mouth, a sensual memory comes back of the smell of burning skin, a lot of burning skin very close to you, and of screaming, and of that same smile that you saw almost in the bar the first night. And you're screaming in this memory, the sound smell memory is mixed with someone else's, and you feel for a moment just searing pain all over your torso. and then it's gone.
Okay. We'll deal with that in a moment. Syntagon is furiously compartmentalizing right now. Furiously. Is there anything with the top part of the rune on Cordassa right now?
Are you gonna like? How far are you looking?
Syntagon feels real bad because there's no one around to even witness this. But he's gonna do a thorough search.
Are you telling her what's going on, or are you just like?
Oh, yes. Is she conscious? Is she conscious?
Yeah, she's conscious.
Oh, thank fuck. Okay, Cordassa, listen. The bottom part does breathing. The top part does control. Now, you're only wearing a necklace that does the breathing thing, so you should be okay. And the other thing, well, we don't really need that anymore. But, like, I need to check, because there's got to be something on you that's got the top part on it, so I need to do a thorough inspection.
She kind of, like, holds up her hands, and where... And she, like, she'll kind of, like, she, like, tucks the necklace inside, and she just sort of starts, like, taking off her outer, like, trappings. Yeah. And, I mean, she's not, like, naked, but she's, like, in her, like, under things, as it were. And, you can see where you have carved this bottom part and started to do the line through the top part on her. And I'm going to need you to make like an investigation, perception, or arcana as you are exploring this woman's body.
I fully understand if Syntagon rolls badly right now. Yeah, he's a little distracted.
Okay. So as you're kind of getting close to her and you smell this very alluring smell off of her, and it's very distracting as you're trying really hard not to look and look at the same time.
It's less about looking at this point and more the embarrassment of like having to look. Like he's more awkward about doing it in this way that, like, you know, like, don't get me wrong, if Syntagon was to get a woman to a room, he would be a mess. Okay? But that would be in a private room, it would be consensual, everyone would be doing it, there wouldn't be any underhandedness. He's almost feeling more bad about the situation than anything else right now, and that's why he's distracted. It's not that he's, like, attracted at the moment. If anything, the opposite. He's repulsed by himself.
She's kind of helping you along and, like, also sort of, like, exploring herself as you are. So she'll go ahead and roll also. Girl. Yeah. Yeah. And as you're kind of working together, you kind of have a thought. And you remember where it was on Charlie. And so you kind of like pull her hair out of the way. Oh my God, it smells great. And you look at the back of her neck and you can see like a faint outline of where this color was. And you can see, as you're looking at the back of her neck, kind of where it looks like a bruise is forming where she had broken her neck and it had been fixed very hastily. And within the bruise, you can see just the faintest outline of where this color had been snapped against her. And you can see just the faintest outline of this rune in its entirety. It seems to be more of like an impression, and it might go away with time. You're not really sure how it works, or it could be a scar where it had been.
I found it.
She kind of like makes a spasm, like, what do I do about this? And she says,
okay, listen, I know a lot of offensive spells, okay? Including Acid Arrow. I don't think this is the time for Acid Arrow. That will probably hurt a lot. But I think I could possibly cut it out.
she kind of winces as you have already carved up this poor girl today. And
You let me know if you want me to do it. I think that's what's making you go, whoop whoop.
she looks very alarmed and is kind of not in her element with this sort of thing. And she takes you like by the hand and she looks at you and she says, I trust you. I'm not sure why, but whatever needs to be done, just do it.
Okay. In my pack, I have a small knife.
Okay.
It comes in the scholar's pack.
Okay.
Probably like a paring knife or maybe a butter knife.
I pictured it was to like sharpen pencils is what I always pictured it as.
Yep, totally. You can have that. I'm going to cast True Strike on myself.
Okay.
And I'd like to try and remove the thing with advantage.
Okay. Roll me dexterity or strength. We're gonna use it as a dagger. And to hit.
Doesn't matter for either because they're both a flat old 0. A 5 with advantage.
Okay. So as Syntagon plunges this knife into the spine of the lady who just got unparalyzed. No, it's not a critical fail. But you're trying to be like very, very gentle with it. And your hand is shaking a lot. And you kind of like close your eyes at the last minute as you're going in, and you manage to cut the first part of the rune, like the first like line down. You cut it down so that it is even further into her.
Damn it.
And she sort of like straightens, and you hear her gasp a little bit.
Okay, this is gonna be a lot less accurate.
Roll me damage.
Do I have to? I don't want to.
Well, it sucks for you.
Hang on there. Cast at what level? Oh, it's a level 2 spell, I guess. There we go.
Okay. So as you have cut this further into her and you see blood just start to run down her back and like start staining her underclothes, you sort of panic and just cast, and you hear her cry out as your spell makes contact, and you're kind of, are you doing one of these, or are you like actually are you like watching?
I'll panic. What I'll do is I imagine I'll have one hand on her neck as I'm doing the knife thing, and I look away and do that, and then it'll be like and it's like I draw an arrow. I'll just pull the knife back and.
So then you can fully see as you shoot this arrow and it splatters against the back of her neck, the skin starts to like bubble as it starts to kind of melt away, and you're starting to see like what looks curiously white here in the back of her neck, as the flesh pretty much it's bones as the flesh melts away in this very concentrated strike. And
I
as
I am in my head right now that bone is the good thing.
As she falls forward and cries out, and you can see this sort of like this, for lack of a better word, meat kind of like dripping down the sides of her neck as she's face down on the ground. And you smell that burning smell. It's not the same one you remember, but it's definitely really, really gross. As she's laying there, kind of, it doesn't look like anything is like structurally damaged aside from the skin, but she looks like she's hurting a lot. And This commotion seems to sort of stir Charlie a little bit, and you hear him kind of moving behind the bar, but he doesn't really say anything. There's like a low groan. We're going to flash back over to the bookcase party. So this bookcase is vibrating in front of Freya.
Thaumaturgy, stop attacking the book. Stop attacking that. Why are you attacking a bookcase?
It was running into you.
I was just trying to stop it.
You ran in front of
Stopped.
it. Of course it's going to run you over. All right, everyone calm down. Okay?
I'm calm. I am calm.
Okay.
I am calm.
Look at Jolene. Don't just put that away. Just put it
We're
down.
getting very worked up over a bookcase.
What do you know about this bookcase, Quinn? Why do you think we shouldn't attack it?
It's a bookcase.
Why do you think you should? It's just on its own path, going about its business, and then here you two come, and you're just like, oh, well, it's moving, so let's attack it. Just
Bookcases shouldn't have business. They're bookcases.
It's a book. Anyway, there's a giant hole.
I
I so don't put my weapon away.
As you
No.
say, bookcases shouldn't have business. The bookcase kind of like gives a shudder, and a book falls out in front of you. And as you kind of look down, it appears to be a textbook about business practices.
Faelia loses her mind.
I put a hand on the bookcase and I cast Healing Word. I'm getting really good.
And you see the bookcase kind of like give a little shudder, and part of the wood that's a different color seems to sort of creep into back being the same color, and it seems to be a little less sappy as it seems to kind of like still under Quinn's touch, and it kind of like almost leans into Quinn. It kind of like tilts sideways, and another book falls off of the shelf, and it opens up to a page. And as you kind of look at it, it seems to be a book on poetry. And you read a couple lines, and it seems to be a poem of adoration for one's mother.
Are you petting the bookcase?
Shush.
I.
No one talk. No one talk. No one talk. No one talk.
I'm gonna go inspect the hole.
Okay. You kind of move this curtain aside a little bit as Freya kind of like helps it aside, and you look
Wave
into the
up.
hole. It's very dark. You can see the same like wooden frame. I just like confetti cat haired myself. You can see the same kind
that
of.
was the clock.
Yeah, that was magical.
No, that was Valkyrie. She is magical. So you peer in, and you can see the same sort of like wooden structures inside. You can tell this was man-made, and as you kind of are using your senses, go ahead and roll me a perception.
It actually is on an edge there. Sorry.
You're fine.
I'll get the app. 16.
16. Okay, Freya as well,
Yeah, let me find
and
it.
Quinn as well. All three of you.
I'm really good at perception, everyone.
No.
Nice.
Remind me, what was yours, Roland?
16 she got.
16. Okay. So with a 13, as you're peering in there with your elvish eyes, you can see that this seems to twist and turn quite a bit, and you can see the glinting of metals inside. It looks to be like it was a mine. And with a 16, you hear something kind of almost movement echoing deep in the mine. And with that 19, you know what that movement is, and that there might be more like this inside.
Something's in there.
Okay, well, Okay. I talked to the bookshelf and I said, do you need to go in there?
The bookshelf kind of turns and almost like wiggles closer to the flap, but Frele is in the way, so it just sort of kind of like wiggles in place.
He's
Phalia?
communicating with the bookshelf.
Yeah. Phalia, in shock, is going to step out of the way.
Yeah. I'm gonna follow.
The bookcase starts to move and then kind of turns towards you, and 2 books fall out of it, and it kind of looks towards Quinn and gives almost a leaning motion, and then it turns and it slides into the earth hole, into the mine. Right, I forgot we identified it as a mine. Into the earth hole.
What mine is.
Yeah, that's exactly what a mine is.
And the books that are in front of you, as you kind of look down, Frele and Drolin, in front of Drolin, there is a history book that seems to be about war. And in front of Frelea, you see a book that seems to be about... It's written in some arcanish language, but looking at it, you're able to sort of make out that it has to do with elemental splicing. And it is written by someone... No, I'll tell you who it's written by someone named... Gyra Switchleaf. And it seems to be very new, in very good condition, almost like it's never been opened. And the title of it is A Theory on Transference.
Do I recognize that name at all? Can I do like a, I don't know, would that be a history check?
You can roll me a history check. Roll it with advantage. Okay.
Thank goodness for advantage.
For a 21, as you're racking your mind, thinking, you remember the woman, the noble woman with whom you cavort, speaking of this name. And then it sort of clicks for you that this was the woman you were supposed to be looking after, the one that may have found a way to end this war. She's a shifter, and you're trying to like remember what else there is to know about her, and you remember some link to a wizard or a cleric, somebody named Kent something. And then as it sort of hits you again, you're like, wait, they said the dead guy's name was Kent. There was some wizard with corpses. That guy's name is Kent. There's some link here. And you pick the book up and you turn it to the back, and there's this picture of this very intimidating looking shifter woman who looks very uninterested on the back cover of it. And that's what you get out of it so far.
Is there...
And Drolin, as you pick up your book, and like I said, it's a book that has to do about war. You're kind of looking at it as well, and the title is Cornered in Desperate Times. And you turn it over yourself, and there's no picture on the back, but the back writing starts, a memoir by Puck. Okay. And it reads like any normal war back cover of, in desperate times, desperate strategies must be employed, and just sort of goes on like that in a very analytical, scientific sort of study of war. Centagon is having an aneurysm in the other room.
Is there any so along with the picture of this shifter, is there like a paragraph or any like description? Like a little bio blurb about them, anything that would like
it's not about the book, it's about the person, and it's basically like Miss Witchleaf was born to an average family and wandered the world for many years, studying the effects of elemental transference and interactions between elementals and genasi. And then it lists some accolades, like she went to X university and, graduated top of her class. And like, it's very just about the authory, and it doesn't really mention anything fabulous or fantastic that's happened.
Okay.
I'm going to put the book, I'll close it pretty quickly after sort of perusing what it is and follow the Quinn and the bookshelf into the mine.
Okay.
I'm going to tuck my book in my bag and also follow into the mine.
Okay. And Quinn, you're also following the bookshelf?
We are walking like side by side. I would say hand in hand, but that's not how it works. Hand
in book.
Hand in book.
I imagine it like
something else.
As you reach for it, like it just sort of like pops up like a little like lip to its shelf, and you can sort of like grab onto the little lip of the shelf.
That's precious.
And I'm probably just talking to it like, look at this damage you have. I can't heal this. I don't know what to do about this. I'm going to have to get a wizard involved to do mending, and that's the only way that's going to be able to fix all this damage, etc., etc., etc.
Okay.
I have no reaction whatsoever to that.
As Phalia and Drolan are sort of quickly accepting their train ride to crazy, and Quinn is accepting life as is, you all trek into this dark hole in the wall, and Syntagon, you have a melting tiefling in front of you.
Oh God! I'm gonna jump the bar and look for healing potions behind the bar.
There's a lot of alcohol. There's a lot of liquor.
Okay, acid. What do you do against acid? Water! Well, water! I'm gonna grab a big pitcher of water. There's gotta be a pitcher of water back here, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go just chug water on her.
So as you pick up, it's kind of like a bucket of water, and you go to pour it on her. Instead of pouring out like water, it almost like falls out in chunks. And it just sort of hits her. And it looks like the color of water. And it just doesn't move like water. It's almost like... Yeah, you can pick it up. And like as you pick it up, it's sort of like gelatinous almost. And...
Oh, God.
And it just sort of sits there as Syntagon very clearly remembers Cordassa yelling after him as he fled from her the first time to not trust the water. And you look at this jiggly, like, cube of not water, not her. It does not appear to be helping.
I put it back in the bucket. I go back behind the counter. Okay, if water's no good, milk?
Roll me a perception to see if there is... Okay, I almost just want to roll a percentile to see what the odds are that this man keeps milk. In a bar. You find
it might have a coffee stand, okay? It's up and coming.
It's basically Bailey's. You find Bailey's. It's like a creamy liquor, but...
I'll pour a little bit out of my hand.
It pours like normal.
Brilliant! I'm gonna go and chuck it on the back of her neck as much as I can.
Okay, you do so, and she screams.
This is feeling best, promise.
Very loudly, as it seems to not feel great.
Actually, kind of relieved. She's screaming. That means she's alive.
She is alive. And like the bubbling seems to subside, but it's not like it's healing. Like there is still like you can see some spine as she is screaming, and she starts kind of thrashing a little bit, which just seems to make the screaming a bit worse.
No thrashing. Oh god. I can't sleep.
Okay. Roll me the hit points for it.
How many hit points does it look like she's got right now?
Several.
More than one.
I'm gonna cast it at level 3 then.
Okay.
44 hit points.
She's still alive and awake.
And awake, she's got more than 44 hit points?
Mm-hmm.
Shit, then I fall asleep.
You feel drowsy. However, where there was some stirring behind the bar, there is now no motion, but some snoring as Charlie has fallen asleep.
Oh my god! How robust are you? I thought you were a wizard!
As she's kind of continuing to kind of like whimper, as the liquor kind of rolls off of her mixed with her blood, making this disgusting pool like right under her face. She kind of like hisses out, "I'm not a wizard."
Oh. Whoops. I'm gonna go and take a napkin and just place it on her neck.
A napkin.
It's okay, we've sterilized it with alcohol.
Some gentleman, here, have my coat. Centagon, here's a napkin. You place this napkin.
Oh! I run to the door!
Okay.
I've still got one level 1 spell slot left. I'm going to take my pen and write on a piece of paper, "We need a doctor at the dusty stool now!" And I'm gonna write it in the sky.
Okay. Okay, so you write that in the sky, and it twinkles there for a moment. That's what we're gonna call it.
Wow.
I'm so stressed, everyone.
I'm so shook!
Same, honestly. Holy bananas. My palms are so sweaty, like,
I know.
literal physical reaction.
All right, so we're breathing. We survived.
Did we? I nearly put myself to sleep!
I mean, there's definitely a paper napkin, like, sticking to the spine of your tiefling companion.
It's okay, it's a bandage.
I don't think that's sterile.
It's okay, it's a bar napkin soaked in Bailey's.
But we didn't kill the bookshelf.
Yes.
We managed to not kill a bookshelf.
Nobody died
How
this
close
episode.
was the bookshelf to death, though?
Hey, so we're all good. We're all happy. Centagon looks super psyched. We found 2 awesome books that are now gone.
And Centagon never heard that, so Scrat just has to hold on to that. Okay.
Oh no.
Oh boy. Okay. Composure. Here we are at the end of the episode, everyone. Let's go around, talk to everyone, see who we are, what we do online. If you've got any links that you'd like me to post, then pop them in the Zoom chat for me, and I'll post them for you as we go around. And yeah, let's start with Becca at the Dice Girls.
I am Becca, and I'm like, I've been shook for like the whole thing, just all of it. I am the DM for the Dice Girls. We are an all women D&D 5e podcast, and none of us have ever played before, so it's very goofy. It's very bumbling through and trying to figure out what we're doing, and 7 episodes in being like, oh yeah, some of us do have dark vision. And goofy, funny, what's a modifier, stuff like that. So you can find us at the Dice Girls on all social media, or thedicegirlspodcast.com is our website.
Fantastic, thank you. What was your favorite part of today's session?
The bookshelf. Just like I think the image in my mind of, so Phalia is like, she's nobility and she's supposed to be like cool, calm, and collected, and all this crazy stuff happens, and then she looks out a window and a bookshelf just goes past. And I think that was the point where she just like, it's all out the window. I don't know what the hell is going on. There's a bookshelf. All of her like good nobility and like her, it's just all gone now. She's Alice in Wonderland very much. But that like visual of the bookshelf just going by, I think is my favorite part, just because of the effect that it had on her.
I just feel like this is born like a side like entire campaign that's just Quinn, Phalia, and Drollin in the bookshelf. Like,
Yes.
Definitely could revisit that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Let's go next to the bottom of the screen with Sarah Somatic.
I'm at the bottom. Wow. Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah. I am the DM for Sacrosanct RP. You can find us at Sacrosanct RP on Podbean and Twitter. And basically, it's a very queer-friendly, everyone is gay. Everyone is gay on this podcast. And if you like characters that do this kind of thing, what are they doing? What secrets they have? I love doing that kind of stuff. It is my jam. So you can find us there, and you can find me at Sarah Somatic on Twitter as well.
Damn it! I nearly had your thing, and then I accidentally pressed up and got rid of it. I will get that. There.
what was your favorite part that you're allowed to talk about?
That I'm allowed to talk about, that thaumaturgy part. That was so much fun. I love that. That just came to me, and I was like, how am I going to get this on this person without making it really obvious that I did it? Because my charisma is very low. So that was very exciting to do. And then play along with that.
Lights on.
Yeah.
Who is Quinn?
Right?
Yes.
That's pretty much, I think, going to probably be the raid cry when we do the raid. Next around we have Quixote Jen. Oh hi.
Hello. I'm Jen. I don't do anything special. I played D&D when I was like a lot younger than I am, and then I didn't for a long time, and then I discovered that it was like all sorts of technology stuff now, and people watch, and like it's a whole new world, and it's super exciting, and I'm just like enjoying that that's in my world again. So that's me. Yeah.
You're muted, Scrat. What was your favorite part?
Thank you. That's what I was getting to.
Favorite parts? Yeah. My favorite part is the mystery of Quinn, because Drollin doesn't know whether to like him or not like him, or is he really, really sweet and loving, or kind of a jerk, or like, the mystery of Quinn is rocking my world.
Yeah, all of those things.
Yeah. Like a person.
Yeah. Like one.
As one does in one's life.
So shook of. Holly, before we go around to me, let's talk to you. How are you feeling? This is probably the most mind-bent I've felt the whole thing. My brain's buzzing. You've broken me. I'm broken.
Good. I'm proud. I'm Holly. You can find me at Stageophilia on Twitter. I'm here every Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thursdays I like to break people, and Tuesdays I like to shoot people. I feel pretty good. I'm kind of a little sweaty, not gonna lie. It could be like all the caffeine in my system, but that was super fun. I had a blast. I loved how individual each person was, and I feel like everyone brought something different to the table. I always really like oh, like what if everyone like there's gonna be two people in the same niche, but I absolutely loved like that moment where everyone is like congregating on the bookcase and everyone has this different perspective. One of them's like, I'm gonna beat it to death. One's like, I just want to stop it. And the other one's like, ah. and then Centagon is just like, well, that's weird, but let me just throw acid at this woman. So I love that we all like kind of faced this weird occurrence in these different ways. And I am definitely excited that things are starting to get weird.
I mean,
weird is an understatement, I think.
I mean, but the thing is, you could say that I threw acid at a woman. You could also say that I destroyed the room. I'm sure she'll feel much better just as soon as that skin starts healing back.
And I just love that Cordassa seems to know Centagon. Centagon runs away, nearly screaming. Cordassa does not seem to know Centagon. Centagon is now on a quest to get Cordassa to remember things. Centagon, what do you want?
He's a teenager, Holly. He has no idea what he wants. She was terrifying and now she's injured. My favorite part today. It's so difficult to choose. Is it the parts that happened to Centagon, or is it the lore drops that you were like raining on everyone else while Centagon wasn't present? That like, what? Also, welcome to the academy. I think just Quinn in general, just being like really cool and stuff. I really loved interacting with Thalia and Drolin, but like the whole time Quinn was just like, well, you guys do that. I'm going for a smoke. Whomst is this?
I'm not gonna say to perhaps expect more of that.
Okay. Well, we are gonna go on a raid.
That face!
We are gonna go on a raid with the raid cry Whomst is Quinn. We're gonna go and check out
Whomst is Quinn!
Please check out these closing links before we go. All of our social links, places you can go to support us. Sponsor information. My brain's so fried. Sponsor information. Big thank you to Bird and the Storm Publishing and Mage Hand Press who make this all possible. And also, we've got a bunch of website stores where you can get 10 to 15% discount, including Mage Hand Press. So please check all those out as well. We will see you all later, everyone. Keep on evoking emotions, and we'll be back on Monday with Completely Normal, and we'll be back at the same time next week for more Fading Footsteps. Keep on evoking emotions. We'll see you later. Bye!
Bye!